r/relationships. Thrower_96 says, my 25 meters fiance 25F spent 6 months in a foreign country with a man 28 meters. I'm a Lebanese guy looking for guidance and advice on what to do. I was born and raised in Beirut and have known my fiance since we were children. She and I have been together for a very long time. At the age of 13, we developed a romantic relationship and began seeing each other secretly without our parents' knowledge. We were neighbors, so meeting was always easy, and we formed a strong bond. We got engaged at the end of 2021 with the intention of marrying a few years later, after we finished our respective studies and had a stable economy. For those who don't know, Lebanon's economy has been bad for a long time, making life difficult for everyone. My fiancée is truly the girl of my dreams, and I'm so grateful that she's mine. She is the most attractive girl I've ever seen. Stunningly beautiful, gorgeous, confident, intelligent, and extremely helpful. However, we've had our ups and downs, as every couple and relationship does. Everything was going swimmingly until something unexpected happened that puzzled me. My fiancée was accepted into a program in the United States to which she had applied. It was a program she needed and wanted, and it would benefit her education in Lebanon. I was disappointed because she hadn't told me. We had a lengthy discussion about her going there because the program required her to live there for 6 months. I tried everything I could to persuade her otherwise, but she was as stubborn and determined as ever. I didn't know much about her trip. All I knew was that the university would provide her with on-campus housing and that the program she would be attending was in a city in the state of Texas. She traveled to the US at the end of July and her studies began in early August. We talked on the phone a lot during her first period there, but her calls gradually decreased and she became less interested in talking and staying in touch, which was strange. Time passed, and I must admit that the 6 months I couldn't see her because she was in a foreign land far away from me were exhausting and stressful. It was the worst time of my life. During this time, I tried to keep myself busy with my parents, work, and friends. During Christmas last month, I saw that she had posted 2 new pictures on her social media. I scrolled down, and, completely by chance, I noticed an unknown person commenting on the 2 recent pictures, and it read, "Best room ever. I love you," she replied with a red heart emoji. I looked through her photos and discovered that every picture, and I mean all of them, had been liked by this person. I then tapped on the account and saw that it belonged to a man, and I concluded from what I saw that they were living together. That she shared a dorm with him. Her most recent pictures were a mix of her out at night, in nightclubs, and at home, and she was dressed in a way that wouldn't be considered appropriate by her or my family. It was concerning. I saw a completely different person when she returned earlier this week, a girl who thought, spoke, and acted differently than she used to. She appeared to be disappointed to be back home, almost like she preferred to stay in the US. When I asked her about the accommodation, I found out that it was true, that she had been living with a guy all this time, and I couldn't understand why she didn't tell me. I noticed she didn't want to talk about it, but I pressed her because I was curious about this guy and wanted to know stuff about him. After our conversation, I had a very bad feeling. My fiance and I have never had sexual intercourse, we've only kissed and cuddled, but nothing more. That's because of our parents and their conservative and traditional values. Many people here believe that premarital sex is inappropriate. I'm afraid that the lack of intimacy, along with everything else, may have resulted in something happening while she was there. After all, she had lived with a stranger, a guy, spent time with him for 6 whole months. What should I do to find out if anything happened over there? TL. Doctor, my fiance shared a dorm with a guy while she studied as an exchange student, a program in the US for 6 months. Without telling. CHKN mom says. You're too attached, hombre. Women don't like that. They like excitement and you are too predictable. Doesn't matter how good you treat her. Only chance you have is to move on. She'll respect that you had the balls to do it, and if there's anything left in her for you, she'll come back. I would suggest you start focusing on yourself. Fitness, communication and a career. If you get those things in line, then the woman of your dreams will fall in place. Men get rewarded in public for what they practice in silence. Tony Robbins. Stiff Curriftwa one says. I'm so grateful that she's mine. She's not yours, it was just your turn. Liana Payne 187 says. Dude, it's partly your fault. How the F did you not have sex with her yet? You're 25 years old. Grow up. If I were her, I'd have left you years ago. Fluffy Police Peanut says. Sounds to me like she experienced freedom and liked it. Who wouldn't? Also, she's your fiance, and you guys haven't been intimate yet. A big red flag for a future relationship, marriage. I know it's traditional, but some traditions need to stop. We are not in medieval times anymore. She may tell you if she slept with anyone, she may not. Why not start by asking her about her time there, and listen with interest? What she liked the most? Hated the most? Best food? Fav place? Activity? Time of day? Why? Best interaction with a stranger? Etc. Then eventually ask about her roomie. Maybe he's gay, who knows? Maybe she slept with him. But if she doesn't want to tell you, maybe she's planning on going back, and I wouldn't blame her honestly. She liked the freedom that she could never experience back home. Green Moon 786 says. Look, there are some facts which really do not tell a good story. She didn't tell you she applied for the exchange/transfer. She didn't discuss with you anything beforehand. She shared a household with someone else, and you didn't know, and she doesn't want to tell you about it in any way afterwards. Expect the worst for your relationship. Germanium 66 says. Sorry brother, but she is with another man now. Time to move on. You've got another 10 years to find the mother of your children. Reddit Avenger 2019 says. You truly don't believe they were not having sex, do you? No, you 7911 says. She will never admit to anything, and you will never really know the truth. You need to look at the facts you have. She lived with a guy in a small dorm room for 6 months. She's been very vague on details and hid them from you the entire time. You have pictures on social media with her out in nightclubs and dressing inappropriately. She is acting very differently. She was in the US, and the hookup culture here is very much in force. You can contact this guy, but he will likely lie. You have a choice to either trust and believe your fiance, or choose to not trust her and end the engagement. Personally, you have more than enough evidence to question her activities. Time to make a decision. r/relationships. Let It Be Alive says. Do long-term couples grow together? Background. I, 24F, have been with my boyfriend, 24 meters, for 5.5 years. We met when we were 11 and have been best friends. We grew up with different work ethics and values. My parents made to go to college. No one in his family has gone or pushed. I told him when we were 19 that I really didn't want us to be 25 and clueless. That I want to have my shit together, and I'd like for him to have it too. He told me when we got together that he would go to school, jest me to death, and pushed things off, and finally confessed 4 years into the relationship he was never actually going to further his education. It's a waste of time and money and he won't do good, he says. He was a C/D student. I tried helping him over the years find some direction or hobby, but he is very much a man of his own terms. He lost his father at 20 and he fell into a depression and a string of shitty jobs. I lost my father 6 months ago and I'm going through a spiritual awakening and I'm ready to stop being stagnant in life. I'm kinda doing the exact opposite he did when dealing with grief. I know I have so much to work on with myself and I want the life I know I can get if I put the elbow grease in. I really want to branch out and make friends. I'm soul searching and I low-key feel like I've just been waiting around for him to figure it out. Ultimately, he hasn't had a steady job in 3 years and has been mostly unemployed in 2022. I have well-paying career in a trade that's separate from my degree. He is in debt and I help him with his bills, sorta. He doesn't ask me for money, he would rather silently drown. We both live with my mom rent-free, but I have a large savings and could move out, but the market is horrible right now. All December we barely hung out. He lied about looking for jobs, put off helping his mom, even though he was sitting at home, played video games until 3 to 4 AM. We almost officially broke up 2 weeks ago. We are in the process of trying to decide if this relationship is worth working to fix because we hit rock bottom. He wants to change and loves me, but doesn't know what he wants to do with his life right now, and I'm very lucky to have figured it out so young. We've been engaged for 3 years too. Question TLDR, he says I don't think people need to grow and change together at the exact same time. I think it's per person. I always believed that couples should try to grow together and be on some type of same page in regard to life. Thoughts on that? 0102030405 says, people can grow together, separately, or not at all. But that's not really the question here. What I'm seeing is someone, him, who lied repeatedly and doesn't have the same core values and traits that you do, and someone, you, who seems more in love with his potential than his reality. You two don't seem very compatible. From mid to late 20s, this is when people find themselves as adults. Many people break up, or even divorce at this time, because of how they grew apart. I highly recommend stepping back from this relationship to get some perspective, or at least ask yourself some hard questions about whether you will both bring the same maturity and honesty to the relationship. Throwaway 78,858,848,392 says, of course people grow at different speeds compared to each other, but the whole point should be that it's growing towards reaching the same goals in life. Normal differences can happen, like maybe one day I'll be into video games and making friends, while he will be into reading and staying home alone. But at the end of the day we both want to save money and move out, so we make decisions in life to reach that point. We all have our limits to what we will tolerate in differences, and it's definitely important to have continuous discussions on where you guys wanna go in life, so that those differences can be corrected. Cool Dudeman 007 says, it sounds like you love someone who he is not. He can't grow on your terms, has to be on his own volition. And that growth may not look like what you expected to. Starry Cloud Rat says, people don't need to grow and change at the same rate, but it's very common for relationships to end because one person is maturing, growing and self-reflecting, and the other person isn't. What's Mippersword 73 says, so yeah, he's shown you who he is, why be his mom? Why waste another year? Don't do the sunken cost fallacy. If he wanted to change he would have. Now he's willing to let you do all the heavy lifting while he sits back. Run. On a day at a time 08 says, I think the problem is that he has lied to you about things more than once. He lied about wanting to further his education, lied about looking for job too. He seems to be happy doing nothing with himself or his life, and that's the exact opposite of you and what you want. His lack of ambition means you have to pick up all slack because he refuses to do anything. He's acting lazy. You're already helping him financially because he doesn't want a job and would rather play video games. That's not okay. Couples usually do grow, sometimes at different speeds. He's had no growth, though, and you can't seem to trust his word. He doesn't actually want things to change. You're not his mother, you shouldn't have to ask this grown man to grow up. That's all for this video. Was it good? I know not, for I'm a robot. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. This video is the product of an automated process.